Chapter 3. I jump into the passenger seat of Lucy's Jeep early the next morning. Okay, list item number 1. You had this thing where you wanted to make sure everyone had a dinner party story. What's that? Like, a story you tell when the conversation lulls and you have nothing else to say to the semi-stranger whose dining room you are currently occupying, so you do a quick rundown of the previous week, looking for anything to reignite the conversation. She stares at the roof of the car as she speaks, almost as if her words are scrolling across an imaginary teleprompter glued to the windshield, like she's mapping it out. You hate awkward silences, so the more stories you can give people, the less awkward silence in the world. Hence, the first item on our list, giving stories. We drive toward Main Street, music blaring, windows down. She's decided it's the perfect place for list item number 1. As I lean my head against the car door, the bass shakes my eyes. Newburyport, Massachusetts is the type of place that permanently looks like summer vacation. It's just perfect like that. Perfect window displays are framed by a perfect blue sky and perfect green grass. She parks a couple of blocks later and jumps out. Come on, we've got a lot to do. We enter a dusty thrift store that mostly houses heavy oak antiques and china sprinkled with carefully painted flowers. 10 minutes. To do what? I ask. To find each other the perfect outfits. Go, you've already missed the first 30 seconds. I run through the aisles, and for a millisecond, I smile. As I leave the thrift store in polka dot pajama pants and a blazer 10 sizes too large that definitely belonged to someone who's long dead, I know I've gotten myself in too far over my head today. But Lucy is on a mission. She marches out behind me and does a spin in her new plaid skirt, sparkly top, and New York Yankees baseball hat. She grabs my hand as we walk side by side down Main Street. She stops an elderly woman in a purple coat. Ma'am, I would like to congratulate you on your coat. It is so marvelous and you truly deserve it. The woman smiles. Thank you, sweet girl. Did you just congratulate that woman on her coat? Obviously, it was marvelous. She looks into each store window, carefully inspecting them for her next victim. She marches into a tiny bookstore and grabs the first thing she sees, a copy of the Massachusetts Gazette in a stack by the door. Excuse me, I would like to buy this. Miss, these are free. Are you sure? That seems wrong. I'll just round up. She slaps $200 bills on the counter and walks out of the store, stopping to place the newspaper back neatly on top of the stack. She shrugs. I've read it already. She swerves out of the door and straight into the next, a small coffee shop. Mismatched framed pictures fill every inch of the walls. The shop feels like fall. Hi, I would like to purchase all of the coffee in your entire shop. Lucy smiles wide. A high school-aged girl, obviously being paid way too little to care, stares at the alien-like figure demanding liquid. Lucy turns to me. Chop chop, go get some cups. We have a lot of free coffee to hand out. After we serve free coffee to every person who walks in for an hour, she decides it's time to go. Lucy takes off an apron that I don't know how she acquired. Okay, Cassandra. We've learned that's the girl behind the counter's name. There are still a few dozen cups here, so just keep handing them out until they're all gone. We've got business to tend to. She turns to me, a grin peeking through her left cheek. We have to go. Lucy tears out the door and turns off Main Street towards a row of houses on First. I have to walk double time to keep up with her. She runs up to the front door of an old blue Victorian house and knocks rapidly. Whose house is this? It's Mr. Loebner's, our English teacher. My English teacher, or I don't know. As her eyes flicker across my face and reality bubbles up, the door flings open. Back to business. Mr. Loebner, a pleasure to see you on this fine afternoon. Is Tubman home? We need him for a secret mission. Who's Tubman? I whisper. 10 minutes later, we are carrying a pig, supposedly named Tubman, down Main Street and into a craft supply store. Lucy's decided that if pigs get to fly in storybooks, then why don't they fly in real life? Metaphorically, of course, or so I hope. With construction paper, glitter, and ropes in hand, Tubman suddenly has his own pair of wings. We run up and down Main Street for hours, a pig covered in glitter next to us. We give bouquets of flowers to strangers. We enlist an old friend of Lucy's at the grocery store to dye apples blue in the produce section. We face paint strangers. I had to apologize profusely to many people about this one. We hang clocks in the air with invisible strings so that time can fly. We hand out slices of cake and hang dog not missing posters just so people can see a cute picture of a dog on their afternoon walk home. There are too many negative things in the world. Every positive one that we add is just one more spark of joy. says Lucy as she pins a dry paint sign to a bench. As we reach the last block of the stretch of Main Street, we pass a little white chapel on the corner of Chapman Road. A poster outside displays a portrait of an old man in a fedora with a feather. A funeral. Want to go? I feel like we shouldn't. Why? Well, don't you think our outfits are sort of disrespectful? People do odd things during grief. Come on, we're showing support, she says. As we step inside the church, an altar boy by the door hands us a funeral program. The same picture from the poster outside adorns the front, along with some swirly black font. The man that lived 1,000 years. What do you think that means? I whisper out at the side of my mouth. I don't know, but I feel like we're about to find out, she smiles. There are a few scattered elderly people throughout the pews, waiting for the service to start. Others congregate in the back, looking at a table of the man's things and photos. The music from the organ echoes through my ears. I like how the notes make my heart vibrate. It hums through my lungs. A woman in a pink tweed suit walks up to us. Are you two in Dan's time travel club? We look to each other, not sure if we should play into some sort of bit we're not in on. But Lucy commits, like she always does. Yes, actually, we are here from the future. Oh, how wonderful, I can tell from your clothes. Late 80s? What year? 2083, I spit out. Oh, Dan loved 2083. He always spent the summers there. Well, thank you for coming and joining us. I'm sure whatever dimension he's in now, he's having a grand old time. After the weirdest experience I possess memory of, we walk down the front steps of the chapel. Well, there's your dinner story, Lucy laughs. She kicks a rock down the sidewalk and goes silent for a minute before speaking again. I feel like I'm going to have FOMO of my own funeral, like everyone else gets to go and I have to miss it. I also feel like dying is kind of embarrassing, and when you die, I feel like there has to be like a recap or something, like a museum of memories for all those little moments. I want to see that. She spews without breathing or thinking. I'd also like to see that. Could be helpful, I joke. She almost spits her fruit punch back into the beat-up Dixie cup stuck to her hand from the post-service reception. What do you think the point of living is? Like if we truly are this tiny speck that can just be blown into smithereens like they say we are, and not an infinite experience like Dan thought. What is the point? She prompts. I don't know, but when you think about it that way, it gets very dark very fast. I don't like to believe we're some speck of dust on the timeline of coincidence. At this moment, I don't care what I think. What do you think? Well, I already know the answer, but you will have to find it yourself. As we walk down the street, the sky is on fire. It's cracked in two right in front of us, perfectly framed by the buildings on each side of the street. I wouldn't have believed its beauty and colors, but as I turn my head to see if she sees it too, I'm reminded that things that magical really do exist. Time for number 2. 7 Thompson and the Art of Remembering. Written and narrated by Grace Ash Wethor. Produced by Gray Entertainment. Sound engineered and mixed by Jack Gray.